Hey folks, it's Rob Potchak with Keenspot Entertainment. We've got some great news. We've got some great updates. We've got some cool stuff going on. Hopefully you enjoy what we've got lined up. And then from there, let's see where we go. At last year's panel, we were happy to announce that the first ever major motion picture based on a Keenspot published graphic novel, Bobby Crosby's romantic comedy, Marry Me, would soon be going into production. This year, we're ecstatic to announce that it wrapped principal photography and is currently awaiting release. The Universal Pictures film stars Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, Sarah Silverman, Maluma, John Bradley, and many other great actors. Keenspot president and Marry Me creator and writer Bobby Crosby visited the set in New York late last year and had a blast hanging out with the cast and crew. Marry Me has always been a natural for film adaptation, and it's awesome that it finally happened. 9 years ago, even independent filmmaking icon Kevin Smith spoke out in favor of Marry Me being a movie on his podcast.
Marry Me, a world-famous pop star frustrated with her love life, accepts the proposal of a random fan holding a Marry Me sign at one of her concerts. Oh, that's awesome. I would like to see that story. It's a movie right there. It's not just a comic book. It's a pitch. If I'm a studio exec, I'm like, done. I'm making that movie. It's going to have Jennifer Aniston in it.
Kevin even predicted the name of the lead actress. Great job, Kevin. In other great news, Keenspot is proud to announce that we have signed an exclusive contract with global publishing giant Simon & Schuster for distribution of our book line, which means bookstores, libraries, Amazon, everywhere books are sold. We're honored to join great publishers like Boom Studios, Oni Press, Viz Media, Andrews McMeel, and others as part of the Simon & Schuster distribution family. And here's something really fun to go along with our virtual panel. Keenspot has a free virtual comic book for you to download. In honor of Comic-Con at Home, our friends at Warner Archive have sponsored this free surprise all-ages digital comic book that you can now download right at Keenspot.com. Go there and find out what it is. And be sure to check out Warner Archive's awesome release, Teen Titans, the complete series. That's the news. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with some more cool stuff. All right, everybody, this is Rob Potchak for the Keenspot panel at San Diego at Home. I am sitting here with New York Times bestselling creator Mario Weich, and we're going to be talking about Sister Powers and Beelzebub. How did you get involved with Keenspot? You know, they've been at Comic-Con now for 20 straight years, but you know, you're relatively new to the company. So how did you bring Sister Powers and now Beelzebub to Keenspot?
Well, I mean, that was your doing. So that was a part of, I sent you a concept and you sent it on to Keenspot. And I guess that's kind of how it all ended up working out. Then I met Chris, and I really like the freedom that I have here.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Man, it's hard to talk about things like this. Like you were mentioning the New York Times. It's one of those things. I really like the people here at Keenspot, like yourself, Billy, Alex, some of the nicest guys I've ever been around. So, and very talented. So, it was a no-brainer that I would like to be a part of something that I feel that a lot of people could be possibly missing out on. There's a lot of great people there, nice people with a lot of talent, and I just want to be a part of that.
So you obviously have two properties now with Keenspot. You've got Sister Powers, you've got Beelzebub, which is coming out later this year. Let's start with Sister Powers. What's the concept, and like why, like who's the audience, and who would want to read it?
Let me start with why. I wanted to create something fun, right? Something that I would enjoy and I could share with my children. And when I was creating this concept, it was like one of the things I wanted to share with my daughter. And so I want it to be fun, something I can enjoy. So that was kind of the heartbeat behind that. Yeah, at the time it was a lot of, dark things going on. People were interested in me being part of those things, but it was like, this was the thing that I thought would really work. And the guy, Jeff McClellan, I thought this would be a good project for me and him to collaborate on. So I came up with this little concept, and then I pitched it at him, and then he took it and, put it in that Jeff machine and hit me back with it, and we pooped this out. And basically, we wanted to do something fun. I mean, I think the world of this, of Jeff, he really did some good things here, and we really were able to hit this, this rhythm, I feel. So basically, Sister Powers is two sisters who were raised normally, and then all of a sudden manifest superpowers. So they like rush home to tell their mother about it, right? And their mother's like, no, we hope that gene skipped you. So not only do they find out that they have superpowers, but that it's been in their family for generations. So grandmother, grandparents, great-grandparents, it's just been in their lives forever. So the book will be about them and how they adjust to dealing with those powers, just like dealing with adolescents and things and going to school and stuff like that. So the younger sister has the ability to morph into any animal she wants to, while the oldest sister has the ability of camouflage. But she also has the unique ability to give others powers, but she can't control it. So you know how that plays in school, right? So everybody's like bursting into flames and sprouting wings, and all this chaos takes place as the whole school starts to be affected by this young lady's abilities. And the rest of it is how we unfold of how that ends up, changing their lives.
Now, having read the first couple issues of it, I see this energy coming off of you right here while you're speaking about it. And I can totally see where it's coming from because like I said, I've read the first couple issues. So Sister Powers is already out. You got the first 2 issues in stores now.
Right.
Issue 3 is coming up soon. Obviously,
Right.
The way things are right now, it may be a little bit delayed because shipping and everything else may take some time. But you have a new project coming out, and right now it's listed for September of this year, and it's called Beelzebub. Right. What is Beelzebub, and why do people want to buy it?
Look, Beelzebub it has been amazing. I really enjoyed this book. I can tell you a little about it. Basically, Belle is the main character in the story, and her name is Beelzebub, right? Her mother is an angel, and her father is Beelzebub, one of the 7 princes of darkness. Belle takes after her mother, so she's good-hearted, but her powers, or her supernatural powers, are darkness-based partly. So things tend to go awry, which is why her best friend is a zombie that's allergic to human flesh.
Which is just an amazing concept in and of itself.
Dude,
considering everything that people can be allergic to, Mario, that is, to me, just amazing to hear.
Dude, I'm telling you, I get so excited just thinking about working on this book. We have done like little preview books and stuff like that of this stuff, and it's just been, I can't even hold this stuff in my, it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. Basically, the rest of the concept is the father, after having Belle, decides that he wants to straighten his life up, right? No more of that evil doing. He wants to straighten his life up, move to the suburbs, and raise her normal, right? And he becomes like this soccer mom.
Mario,
Shower
it's
me.
been awesome talking with you about the properties. I think Beelzebub actually is a hit waiting to happen. I think everybody needs to pick it up. You were talking earlier about how it's a title that when you've put out little small little portions of it and everything, that people just eat it up. It really is a fun concept. It's a great book.
Thank you.
It comes out in September. That's what Diamond's got it listed
Right,
for.
right.
So folks, please take a look at it. It's going to be great.
I want to give a shout out to Michael Adams, who helped me co-create Beelzebub. A lot of cool things going on in his life, so he's not able to be a part of it right now.
Awesome. Well, Mario, we are probably out of time at this point. But
no, man, I don't want to go.
Thank you for being a part of the Keenspot's 20th anniversary panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year. Comic-Con at home. Everyone gets to take a look. But hopefully everybody, after what all you've said, will want to take a look at both Sister Powers and Beelzebub. Or Beelzebub.
I really hope so. Beelzebub.
All right, it's Rob Potchak here on the Keenspot panel. I am now talking to Max Weaver, the creator of Grubs, a new book coming out from Keenspot. This is going to be a full-size graphic novel. Max, why don't you go ahead and just give us an overview of what it's all about, and then we can get into a little bit more about you.
Okay, thanks, Rob. So yeah, I'm really excited about this opportunity here. The Grubs comic, I created it. It's been a long work. Probably the last 20 years I've been working on it on and off. It's called Grubs, and the main character is a second grade boy who has been nicknamed Grubs by his older brother. His older brother's a teenager in high school. He also has a sister that's in high school, and it's all about the family of Grubs, whose real name is Billy Watson. It's all about him aggravating the family, playing tricks on his siblings, just, typical family stuff. Kids fighting or kids arguing. Sometimes Grubs gets the best of his family, and sometimes they get the best of him. So anyway, I think it's a really fun comic, and I hope hopefully everybody likes it.
Yeah, I got a little preview of it, and I can definitely say that I see the influences in it. Off air, we were talking a little bit about how you were influenced with the old school, like Sunday morning comics, like Dennis the Menace, and there was one in particular that you really seemed to flow to. Am I right?
Yeah. So again, I read Peanuts, I read Dennis the Menace, other Mad magazines, different stuff like that. The one I really liked, and I think was the best comic, is Calvin and Hobbes by Bill Watterson. When Watterson retired, I guess 1995 or thereabouts, I was kind of upset because he was, that was what I really looked forward to in the Sunday papers, and even actually during the week reading the comics. At that point, I go, after a couple of years, I go, so there ought to be somebody to replace him. So I worked with a couple of friends that were pretty good artists to see if they could, help me draw stuff. I can write, but I cannot draw. So, unfortunately, there were people that would paint, they could do paintings on the wall, but not necessarily a comic strip. So I kind of dropped it for years. I finally ended up locating a real comic artist, Ed Dawson. He's an awesome artist, and we got together and created Grubs. Self-published actually 4 comic books a few years ago, and since then it's just kind of sat idle. Luckily, Ted didn't let it die, and he got a hold of Keenspot, and now we're going to get it published, I believe, early next year.
So you actually own the property, and Ted works with you on it, and he's the one that got Keenspot interested in the project?
Yes, he is. I think Chris and him go way back. Chris go back pretty far, and Chris had asked him, "Hey, do you have anything you're working on that might be interesting?" And so yeah, he goes, "Oh yeah, I got this year. We did this a few years ago. Take a look at it and see if you like it." And luckily, Chris did. So
that's awesome. That really is. So welcome to the Keenspot family. I guess I should go ahead and say that. I've been working with them. Man, it feels like I've been with Keenspot since the very beginning. A couple of our friends that are also doing these interviews are also doing that. So So welcome to the family. And with that, like what kind of led to the stories that you tell in Grubs?
So when I was growing up, I was the youngest of four, by far the youngest. My next closest sibling was my brother, who was 7 years older than me. And one sister was 12 and one sister was 10 years older. So I was the baby by far. And my older brother had nicknamed me Grubs growing up. He said I reminded him of a grub worm. So that was how I became of the Grubs. So it was, it's not it's kind of a degrading nickname, right? The Grubs. And all his friends, they didn't even know my real name. Some of the neighbors didn't know my real name. One of the neighbors came over to ask my mom if she, if you ever need help, I'd be glad to babysit little Grubs. And by the way, is that his real name? I mean, so when I was growing up, I was Grubs, and me and my brother would get in arguments, fights, and because he was bigger, older, smarter than me, he usually won. So now this strip is kind of me actually winning some of the arguments. So that's how the whole thing came about.
That's awesome. Are there any things that people should look forward to when they pick up a copy of Grubs that are like your personal favorite moments? I don't want you to give away too much, but are there any parts in there that are like your favorite moments that you think people should be looking out for?
There's some really good stories in there. There's a story about jelly beans. There's some jelly beans that came out that were, some of them had bad taste to them and reminded, people of earwax or dirt and stuff like that. And so it's Grubs tricking his siblings' dates into eating the nasty jelly beans, and then their whole date falls apart, right? First his sister and then his brother, and this ruins their entire date. So it's stuff like that. It goes throughout the comics. Second one that I really like is All the President's Men. It's called that because Grubs ended up running against a neighborhood girl for the class president, and the reason he does it is because he doesn't want to lose a bet, so he ends up having to run against her, and it turns out pretty funny. It's like real politics at the end there.
Yeah, I definitely chuckled a little when I read that one.
And another thing, I want to give a shout out to Ted Dawson, because he's, without him this would be nothing, right? He's a great illustrator for. I can put the stuff down on the paper, and I'm not even sure how it's supposed to look. And when it comes back from Ted, it's awesome.
He does have some great stuff. So Ted, we're thinking about you. Hopefully you pick up and watch this video during San Diego Comic-Con. And Max, I had a great time. Folks, that was Max Weaver, the creator of Grubs, an upcoming book from Keenspot Publishing. It'll be out in 2021. And as we have more information about that on the Keenspot website, we will definitely make sure that you guys hear about that and know where to find it. Thanks again, Max. All right, so that's Rob Potchak. I'm here with Billy Parker, the creator of the D Ward. He looks like he is hiding out in an underground bunker somewhere.
Yes, known as my house.
Known as your house. So Billy, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved with Keenspot and making comics?
I got involved basically through you. I was at Greensboro Comic-Con 2 years ago, and we sat beside each other. And so I said, reached over and said, "Hey guys, by the way, if I get too annoying today, just tell me to shut up." And so that's how we met. And then we went on, and as we talked through the day, I said, "Well, hey, if you want to get together and do a comic, let's do that." You came up and gave me a call, and we did junior high hours.
And before that, though, you stalked me on Xbox Live for a little while.
Oh well, well, not too long, but yeah, I saw you posted your screen name on there, and I said, "Hey, I got an Xbox. Let's play." Yeah. And of course, we never played the same game.
Single game together. He's still trying to get me to play Rainbow Six Siege. So
that was then. Yes. Now I've been playing Fallout 4. I bought it for $10 at GameStop. Can't beat it.
Yep. No, excellent title. Have fun with that. But just so everybody here knows, Billy was the inker, colorist, and letterer of the first 8 issues and the Halloween special of Junior High Horrors. So a comic very near and dear to me. And after that, Billy actually said that he wanted to talk and do his own project. And Billy, you came up with something called the D Ward.
Yes, the D Ward is it's a story about a young kid, Xander Wiley, who experiences a major tragedy when he's a kid, and then he grows up, and because of that tragedy, becomes a psychologist and works in a psych ward, dealing with people who feel they've seen demons, and then he comes to find out basically that demons are real. So that's pretty much the gist of the title. So
for anybody that wants to pick that title up, you have kind of like a thing that you tell everybody it's kind of like, right? So what if you were to describe the D Ward quickly, what do you describe it as?
It's basically like Supernatural meets Once Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of idea. Pretty much all takes place in the psych ward in the first 4 issues. So.
Yeah, so with that, folks, make sure that you check out the D Ward and, of course, Junior High Horrors, both with wonderful work from Billy Parker. As you see there are the issues 1 and 2.
Alex's covers.
Yeah, both with Alex Smith covers. So Billy, thanks for your time. Really appreciate you stepping out and letting us make sure that you're out of quarantine, at least for a little while. and we look forward to seeing more work from you in the future, my friend.
Excellent. Hopefully we'll be at San Diego next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm here with Hank Hobby, the creator of The Ruins. And Hank, I'm not sure how many people know all about you or anything, so why don't you go ahead and explain to us how you got involved with Keenspot and how you started wanting to be in comics.
I appreciate that, Rob, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's pretty simple. I'm just a comics fan. I've loved comics since I can remember my whole life, really. I'm definitely a newcomer to the comics industry. I'm a big fan of fantasy, superhero comics, as well as horror. And it's very simple. I just wanted to pursue writing as a career. I'm a writer at heart, and I got an idea for a story one day, sat down, hammered it out, developed it for quite a few months, and I just decided to go for it, take the risk, execute it, and here I am. It's pretty simple.
All right, so how did you get involved with Keenspot?
One day I was just researching different publishers, just trying to find the right fit. After quite some time, after a certain period of time, I finally found them, and I'm very grateful that I did, and just decided to pitch it to him. Reached out to Chris, and we got things moving forward, pitched it, and got the ball rolling. That's also a pretty simple story. That's pretty much how it went.
So you're the writer on The Ruins. Are you using another artist on the book?
Yeah, the artist, his name is Alam P. Sandoval. I'm just the creator and writer of Ruins.
Okay, and what brought him into the fold, and what really made him stand out as the artist of choice for The Ruins?
Right. That's a good question, actually. I've dealt with several artists with Ruins, but one issue came here, another there, and it just didn't work out in certain instances. Then I was researching once again online, and I came across Alam's Instagram. I saw some artwork that I loved, a lot of potential there as well. So I reached out to him, kind of pitched him the idea for the story as well, and he enjoyed it. He saw the potential in the story, which I'm also thankful for, and we got the ball rolling. We decided to take a shot and just move forward with it, and we're still doing it to this day.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Keenspot is that a lot of their properties are very diverse. So it's not all the same type of genre or anything else. So this title is actually more of like a dark fantasy with some humorous elements in it. Am I right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of humor really. It's I take the story pretty serious, not too serious, of course. You never want to do that. But yeah, it's I like to call it a dark fantasy. I'm a big fan of fantasy. I'm a big fan of horror. So I wanted to explore those genres. But more so than that, I wanted to ground it in something, and that's the human condition. A lot of the themes are redemption, loss, grief, and hope. It's about a man named Theo Jones. He's a former boxer, a championship boxer, turned bouncer. After a tragic event happened to him, he lost his wife and daughter in a home invasion gone wrong, and he blames himself for it, actually. And in my own life, I've dealt with some depression issues and things like that, like I think many human beings have. So I just tapped into that. That's also an inspiration behind the book. And I wanted to explore that. I wanted to see where that would go. And Theo, he's fallen into alcoholism, and he's at the end of his rope. He's just about done. He's ready to leave this earth. And little does he know that the universe has that in store for him. And he's transported to an interdimensional planet where he discovers a chance of redemption, a parallel dimension with a parallel situation, and a chance to somewhat make things right. That's just what I wanted to explore, and that's what I'm doing to this day.
It sounds amazing when you take into consideration like all those different like thematic elements that you've got in there. And I apologize for saying humor. It actually sounds like it is going to be a pretty serious book. What drew you to this theme and the power behind it that is there? What's the message that you want to deliver from the title?
Right. Good question. Like I said, I've had issues with depression in the past, and I've dealt with anxiety as well. But I wanted to, as far as a message, I guess I'd have to say that no matter what you go through, no matter what we experience, there's always something worth fighting for. And I think that this title encompasses that. And I hope that readers will enjoy it as well as take that away from it. And if that's the case, I couldn't be more grateful.
Sure. All right. So Hank, I had a blast talking with you. I hope people really feel like they gained something from hearing about your title. I look forward to it, and I know I'll be reading it. It sounds extremely interesting and definitely something right up my alley.
Rob, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I am speaking with John Jose Koh of the Hunters of Salamanca. You've also done some other stuff with Keenspot, John. You've worked on a little book called Fart Night, and are there any other ones that you've worked on?
I believe what is that other one? It's like berry steaks fries.
Oh, that's right. You did berry steak fries.
I did.
The
First issue.
Joyride game. Comic.
Yeah,
I remember that one. That was at my first San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
So, John, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you got started in creating comics, any hints and tips that you might have for people that want to do this themselves?
I started. I've been drawing all my life, but I didn't really get into. I got into like Marvel Comics in the 90s, and I was kind of drawing that style. And then the anime came in, and I'm like, oh, I like this style better, and I wanted to draw that, But still some of the stuff I kind of had the influence from Marvel still there with the low lines I have. But when I started going into the whole actual comic stuff, it's like around the early 2000s. That was when like the web comics started booming, and there was a place called Keenspot that started like they having all these online comics, like these old comics out there. I got Wendy, Synfest, all that stuff. It's like that's a long time ago, and that's when I got into it. And I wanted to do something like that, so I started something called a web comic called The Lounge, and I've been working on that for a long time. And then it kind of like I think I kind of went on a hiatus after like 10 years or so.
Wow, 10 years.
Yeah, I know. People keep asking every once in a while they want it back, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of hard sometimes to get back.
Oh yeah, because your style's changed and
and things have changed, and now I'm doing something I actually want to do, because the launch was like a slice of life, modern day gag comic, about video games and comics and all that stuff. But now I want to do like an actual fantasy comic, and that one I'm actually really enjoying that one. The Hunters of Salamanca.
So and you're still working on Hunters, right?
Oh yeah. I have this. It's not gonna be done anytime soon, but I do have a huge, like a road work or whatever, a plan for it. Writing arcs and stuff, because it's something I've never really done before. So I'm learning a lot from doing this comic, but also a lot of stuff I did from the lounge is like all that stuff I learned from that is like helping me do this comic as well.
I've obviously looked at a lot of your work. I love your work. For those that don't know, I have a running joke with John every year at San Diego. I call him the nicest guy in comics during during the panel.
No, don't say that.
But he is. Don't let him tell you otherwise. So John, what do you have coming up in Hunters that people should be looking forward to?
Volume 4 was supposed to come out this year, but because the whole pandemic mess, it's coming out next year, and I'm hoping that also I'm gonna be working on some kind of like a little art book for the comic. So this year is like an off year, so it gives me a lot of time to like do stuff with that, and hopefully like next year we can like launch a lot of stuff with it, like the volume 4 and maybe an art book and stuff like that.
Hear you. So John, thank you so much for the time. Hopefully your fans that do check out our panel every year are checking you out here on this, and glad to hear you're doing well during all of this. Glad to hear you're staying busy. And please, you ever need anything, reach out, buddy.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I am sitting here with Jason Swoboda and Mike Rosenzweig. Guys, you do a couple different things for Keenspot, if I know correctly. I know Mike does. He's the go-to letterer on most of the comic books nowadays. But on top of that, he is a creator as well. So why don't you guys go ahead and tell me like what you do for Keenspot and how you got here?
All right. Well, I'm Jason Swoboda. I one of the co-writers for God Mode, one of the great Keenspot comics. Terrific, tremendous. That's. I started out doing the online version of it back in the early 2000s, I think it was. That's when Mike and I started doing that. Mike's my brother-in-law. So he's just like, hey, you want to help out with this? I said, sure. My background's kind of wasn't in comics before this. It was in, I went to school for film, and I knew how to write screenplays and that kind of stuff.
That's how God Mode started, remember? It was going to be a TV show screenplay that we were working on.
Yeah, it was a TV pilot. And then we wound up working on the online comic after that. Mm-hmm. So the pilot didn't happen, but then it was going to happen again, but then it didn't happen. It could happen again, though.
It could happen again.
There's enough streaming platforms. There were no streaming platforms back in the early 2000s like there are now. This was pre-YouTube. So, it's something we're looking forward to, or I was looking forward to trying out, and I kind of got a handle on it, and I had fun doing it. And it was a good way to kind of do some creative output, because I was in corporate America, which has no creativity, just outputs. So
it typically kicks anything creative out.
Yeah, and I've recently left corporate America. I'm working. I have a new position. I work for a company called $7 a Pop, and I do all their online videos for them and their marketing and social media. So it all just kind of ties in. And I've signed a comic, one of the God Mode comics, to him at an event locally, and me and the owner kind of struck up a friendship, and that's how part of the reason why I wound up there.
The comic worked for you.
It worked out for me.
Opened some doors.
It did. So we're currently working on the third issue, we're working on the fourth issue. We finished the third issue.
Jason's still working on the third issue. Mike.
Yeah. I didn't tell him it was finished like 2 months ago, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. So I guess those changes aren't happening. But no, it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely a different format to learn. Very different because, you know, in screenplays you want to say more a lot of times than you film as a writer, but in comics you kind of have to do more with less words, and you have to show more, and you have to kind of learn that sort of balance on that. But yeah,
Sure.
but thanks Mike for getting me on board with all this.
What about you,
You're
Mike?
welcome. Glad you helped. With God Mode, you know, we did start with the script, and knowing Jason had a background in film, I'm like, all right, maybe he can help me do it. And that transition to the comic, which we wrote together, I drew it. That lasted for about a year. We did comic strips. Fine. So maybe dozens of fans.
Yeah, but
Dozens of people liked it.
but we amused ourselves mostly. It was incredibly vulgar.
Yes,
Beyond
on
nothing.
purpose. On purpose.
Yeah, it was just how could we get even more vulgar with it? The comic for God Mode that we're doing now, it's very PG.
So having a vulgar webcomic definitely transitioned to a prequel comic for kids.
Yeah.
Based in the 90s.
Mhm.
We took the base characters and we basically, the comic that's out now, 2 issues are out now. The third one is written, waiting to be drawn, and we're almost done with the fourth one, right? Almost done with the fourth one? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Almost there. Is the prequel story. It is all ages. It's about how they started their internet company called God Mode. It's a review site. It's a cheat code site. There's teen romance, intrigue, mystery.
There's definitely mystery, and since it takes place in the 90s, there's vague references to cigarettes. Because
Yes, and Kiss from a Rose.
And Kiss from a Rose, which I fought very hard to include in the whole thing. And one of the reasons that I wanted to, when the idea was brought, when Mike brought the idea, it was just like, hey, you know, you want to do this again? It's like it takes place in the 90s, and I was just going through this whole, I was pretty miserable at my job. And I'm like, hey, I was pretty happy in 1995. So yeah, I would love to revisit that era. And I think Kiss from a Rose was playing when he told me about it. So I'm just like, there's so many jokes. There's so much material that you can sort of harvest from that era, from like the mid 90s.
Cut a lot of it out. We had a lot more references to it, but we want more of a timely feel, even though it was a time capsule kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
I
kind of have
Jason
to be
had his.
If I have to be reined in sometimes.
yeah. No, it was like every other line doesn't have to be Kiss from a Rose lyrics. We get it. We like the song.
You should just have a character that looks like Seal that just sits there and speaks those lines.
It was, because if you know, when it snows, my eyes become wide.
Hey, we do not own the rights to that.
Oh, sorry. Just put that in a disclaimer.
You can show a clip of that video right now. Jason probably has one on his phone. That's his ringtone.
It's just very weird that song came out and it wasn't really a hit, and then they put it in Batman Forever, and then somehow made a music video incorporating it with Batman.
I always thought of Batman when I heard that song.
Yeah, I was just like, God, this would be such a great Batman song, Kiss from a Rose. I hope Tommy Lee Jones is in it with a hamburger face. Like, that would be great.
A purple hamburger face.
A purple hamburger face. But, you know, I like look back on that era, and the 90s were just I think the last innocent time that in our lifetime, because once 2000 hits, what do you have immediately? You have terrorist attacks, you have a botched election, and then it's just
downhill from there.
Yeah, it's my life changed.
But even if it had like a peak at some point, like it goes like maybe like this, and then all of a sudden it gets to 2020 and just goes like that, right?
Yes, I was listening to an interview with Dax Shepard where he was talking about his addiction issues, and he said there's no such thing as one rock bottom, it's several rock bottoms. So I think we're in rock bottom. We're in one of our several rock bottoms now.
Rock bottoms.
And there's Mike's dog.
What?
You got a dog there.
What are you talking about?
The dog named Yoshi that should have been named is Yoshi. Codename Pickles, but Yoshi.
Pickles.
But they decided to rename Yoshi.
I like how regal Yoshi just got.
Oh yeah, no, he knows. Look, say hi.
King Doggy.
All right, I am here now with the artist of Junior High Horrors, Eric Kent. Eric, you look like you are in a bunker somewhere in the middle of Kentucky.
Definitely. Fireworks going off everywhere tonight.
So this is your first San Diego Comic-Con panel, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, this is not what it's normally like, by the way.
Less people.
No, there may be a lot more people, actually. You know, if they're all out there watching us, thank you for doing so. Obviously, this is the 20th anniversary Keenspot panel. Eric lost all of his lights, apparently. Now he looks like somebody who is a... you look like you're in the witness protection program now, trying not to have your accuser actually figure out who you are.
I know, right?
So how about this? How about you go ahead and you tell me how you got involved with Keenspot and Junior High Horrors?
Well, you and I had worked together back in, I think, 1999.
Yeah.
1999.
It may have even been a little bit earlier than that. I believe we did some Blatant Comics at one point.
Yeah, it was still Blatant Comics at that point before Keenspot. And then we kind of drifted around. We did a couple other things, and then we got back together and got on Junior High.
Yeah, so you were showing me earlier, and I don't know if people are going to be able to see this now that your entire lighting has gone out in your bunker, but you were showing me some very early drawings from a title that ended up becoming Junior High Horrors. Do you have those with you? So that is a very early drawing, folks, of J.B. Lakes right there. And Eric also designed one of the other characters, which we went a little bit away from on the designs. Eric, what was that character? He's one of your favorites.
Well, actually, here's the original Frederick when he was going to be a bear.
So Frederick at one point was supposed to be a bear. He was always supposed to be partnered with Nancy, which she's sitting there with him. But your
this is what you're referring to.
Yes, your favorite character.
Piney and Todd are my favorite characters.
Yes, and as you can see, his wristband is actually the
cube.
The Rubik's Cube. Yeah. So yeah, that goes back to show exactly how far Eric and I have worked even on this project together. There were designs and everything else that both of us were coming up with.
Because that was almost 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was I want to say October 2017 was when we started the project. And then you know, it kind of took on a life of its own, came out in September of 2018. And then you hopped on with issue number 2 and pretty much have gone like balls to the wall with it since then, haven't you?
Consecutive from there.
Yeah, so you nailed issue 2 all the way through number 8. You took some time off so I could do the Halloween special. And then since then, you've gone ahead and done the April Fool's special, which will be in store soon.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Love to see it in there eventually.
Due to the virus, it unfortunately did not make it into stores on time, but it did make it onto Comixology. It is available there. Anything else that's going on with you, Eric? You got any new possible Keenspot projects in the works?
We have the next special we're starting to work on.
Yeah, so that's another Junior High Horrors one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those out there
I don't know what you want to tip them off about.
Well, you know, I'll go ahead and say it. One of our favorite series on Netflix just happens to be Stranger Things. So we are going to be doing a Keenspot Junior High Horror special for Strangest Thingies is the subtitle on it so far. We wanted to make sure that people understood that we were going to talk about and actually do a parody on something specific, because we typically parody just about everything. And then on top of that, there may also be something for the really big Junior High Horrors fans out there that's coming on the side, isn't it, Eric?
Oh, there is. So we're going to lift the lid on the Junior High coloring book?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead and tell everybody. We've got a... All right, if you don't want to do it, I'll do it.
Between you and I are hand-picked images of what we think everybody would love to color themselves.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we are doing the Junior High Horrors all ages coloring book, kind of playing on that whole adult coloring book thing that's been out there recently. and giving everybody the opportunity, like Eric just said, to color their favorite images from junior high horrors, both the covers that they've loved, some of the splash pages, and then some hand-picked pieces from us. And on top of that, we've also got some guest artists that are going to be part of that, like Chris Giarusso. So with the love and consent from our friends at Keenspot, we are actually putting this project out. Should be on Indiegogo soon. So with that, folks, we're gonna sign off with Eric here. Hopefully he can come out of the bunker at some point. You know, he is very afraid of the of all the things that are going on outside and above him. But
I'll just sit here in the dark and draw.
well, don't ruin those eyes, man. Let's get some light down there so that you can actually see what you're doing.
All righty.
I am here with Isu, the Asu. Sorry, Asu.
It's fine.
I knew I was going to get wrong. I was saying Isu, then I was like, okay, it's Asu, and I still said Isu.
It's fine. No.
I'm sure you hear it every single way, don't you?
Yep, I do. It's to the point that I'm like I accept any kind of pronunciation.
Well, it is a different name than what I'm used to hearing, so it's probably a little more unique, at least in the comic world. So why don't you go ahead and tell us how you got involved with Keenspot in the first place, and then maybe even take us through some of the projects you're working on now.
When I first started with Keenspot, it basically happened when I made an online comic called No Pink Ponies back in 2006, and I signed up with Comic Genesis, the Keenspot offshoot that does like for free. That gives people free spaces for them to put up their online comic and all that. So then I got I got spotted by Giselle Lagas, who does at that time was Penny and Eggy on Keenspot.
Okay.
And she pretty much like recommended me to be inducted into the Keenspot gang, in Keenspot family. So then Chris Crosby sent me a invite to Keenspot, and I accepted, and then I got in. And Chris and Bobby later on, they liked my artwork so much that they wanted my art to be for a project that they were doing called Marry Me. And
pretty important project for Keenspot now.
Yeah, it is a very important project. One of the big ones that they have that's going to be made into a movie.
Coming soon.
A little movie plug starring Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez. So so they got me into drawing Marry Me, and I really liked the idea behind Marry Me and the script itself. Bobby did such a good job on the script. I really enjoyed drawing that comic, and even later on when Chris takes over the writing job for Volume 2, it was it got even wackier and more and crazier as well. So I was like, and from then on, Chris started giving me more jobs, more what do you call that?
Projects.
More projects in Keenspot. So pretty much that solidifies my relationship with them.
God Mode, you're also working with both of them.
Yep.
So
that was basically like it's Chris said that he wanted to do like a reboot of God Mode from the webcomic, but he wanted to put it he wants still to have it as it's sort of a soft reboot, I guess, because it's set before the online comic, the webcomic. And by then, at the same time, it's not exactly like going into the webcomic storyline as well, because there's some additional stuff that was added into the one we're doing. But generally, he wanted me to try my hand at the remake of it. So I was like, yeah, sure. Since I do read God Mode and I enjoyed it, so I was like, I don't mind trying it out as well. And Mike came up with some really good script with it. And pretty much that I think it just slides in just nicely when we were doing God Mode.
Well, great, because he was saying during his interview that he's already. They both have issue 3 pretty much completed in terms of writing, and are currently putting together issue 4.
Nice.
So hopefully that means, with everything going on, that we see them by early 2021.
Yep.
But let's talk a little bit more about "Marry Me." The concept of it is that a pop star is supposed to get married to her backup singer.
No, it was actually the pop star was having a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
Because she just got dumped by her boyfriend, and she was feeling like she's never gonna get any kind of companionship in her life and all that. And so when she was on her final concert tour of the year, she saw a quote unquote fan holding a "Marry Me" sign in the crowd and decided to marry him.
That's
of course
crazy.
Yeah, it is. Of course, said fan isn't a real fan as well, because he's just holding the sign for a friend who is a big fan, who's also a lesbian.
So he gets picked out of the audience just because he's there with a friend.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I think it's such a cool concept, and I love the fact that it's being made into a movie, because those two the two actors, Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, yep.
They just have this, like, you look at them and you don't think that they would have chemistry, but every time you see pictures coming out from the film, they look like they're just like enamored.
Like they fit. Yeah, they fit so well. Yep, I agree with that. When I saw some of the pictures, some of the set pictures and everything, I was like, this looks decent. It actually looks pretty decent. I mean, I have some trepidations with some parts, some changed parts, but that's just my own thing. And it's it's a Hollywood adaptation. There's always going to be some changes and all that.
Yeah, but I love the idea that they announced it on, I believe it was Jimmy Fallon that they announced it.
Yeah.
And there she even said that she may do a "Marry Me" tour.
Oh.
So because they came up with like 11 new songs and everything for this.
Yep.
So
I've heard about that.
They've got a soundtrack and everything coming out. So they got some really cool stuff coming. Now I'm going to ask a little bit about your digital avatar here, because people that are watching this maybe just tuning in on San Diego Comic-Con's Comic-Con at Home site and not know anything about this. So why don't you tell those at home, like, what's up with that? Because I think it's awesome. I was telling you that beforehand.
Well, the idea is that I am a virtual YouTuber, much like some people might know, like Kizuna Ai from Japan, one of the most famous virtual YouTubers. She has like 2.6 million subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, she's huge. She's among the anime community, she's pretty well known. So virtual YouTubers are basically people who make video content but have like a virtual self instead of their real self. So like myself, I am a superhero with the enhanced power of support. The power of enhanced support and fast drawing skills. And then basically, I am actually now anime community people would know what the term isekai is. Isekai is the term that's used in anime as a person who was who got transferred to another world or a fantasy world. Usually this happens after the person has died in the real world and then got transferred to the fantasy world where he becomes a hero and he has like unlimited power and stuff like that. That is the case with me. I am dead in the real world. I got visited by Truck-kun. Truck-kun is another anime trope where, because most isekai anime have like a truck hitting the person and the person got transferred. So I got visited by Truck-kun, and Truck-kun sent me to the virtual world, and here I am right now as the virtual superhero Eisu. I decided to keep the name Eisu instead of coming up with a whole new name as well.
It sounds like a superhero name. So, and through Keenspot books, you obviously have become the superhero of fast art.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. There's a lot of working fast deadlines needed and stuff like that. Not to say that I never miss deadlines though. I do miss deadlines sometimes because sometimes you just get too exhausted to actually do any kind of work. But that's not because I'm slow. That's more because there's a tinge of laziness sometimes.
Trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to like the last minute to get these videos done.
Yeah.
Really glad that we could get you here on here, especially since we had to go to the virtual world to get you.
Yep.
Thanks so much, and
no problem. And thank you for inviting me here to to give my words to the people as well, because I want to tell them that I hope you guys all stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the future, citizens.
Perfect.
Thanks to everyone that participated today. Thank you also to all of you at home for watching this 20th annual Keenspot panel at Comic-Con. It's been a blast being the host once again. And please note that pretty much every comic we've talked about today is easily ordered at keenspotshop.com. You can't find them in your local comic shop or bookstore. And don't forget the free comic that we actually offer right now digitally at keenspot.com. And finally, follow the Keenspot official YouTube channel to see all the full interviews from the creators that we interviewed today, because we had to cut quite a bit out to make sure that everybody got something to say. Goodbye for now. Stay safe, and of course, stay keen. Thanks, everybody.
I guess this goes out to each one of you guys. What would be your best advice for aspiring cartoonists, web cartoonists, anybody looking to get into the art field? Don't expect to get paid. That's all I'm saying.